Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my mother-in-law spend the night in my bedroom and lock the door? Context. My husband, male 34, and I, female 26, got married 9 months ago. We live in a different town from his parents, and his mom visited us unexpectedly on Friday. Now, to give some context about my mother-in-law, she is okay-ish but has no respect for her son's privacy and, by extension, mine. When it was time to go to bed, mother-in-law requested that we let her sleep in the bedroom, on the master bed. Not just that, but lock the door as well because she explained she can't feel comfortable enough to sleep without locking the door. I found this bizarre, but I politely declined and suggested other options like the guest room, couch, and air mattress. But no, she turned around and presented these options to me. My husband agreed, but I said no, and this initiated an argument between her and I. During the argument, I pointed out how I didn't want to be kept out of my room and away from my stuff. But she lashed out at my husband saying, "Don't you just stand there? Say something." My husband told me to let her, it's just one night. But I told her those were all the options I had for her. And if she didn't like them, then I could book her in a hotel. She took it as in I was kicking her out and started crying, which made my husband upset. She left at 12 a.m. and my husband blew up saying I disrespected his mom who was a guest at our house and treated her poorly. He then reminded me it's our bedroom, not just mine, and I acted horribly to her, causing her to go stay at a hotel in the middle of the night. He went to book a room in the same hotel as her and turned his phone off. The next day, she went home and told the family, who berated me, calling my behavior towards mother-in-law abhorrent and loathsome. Now my husband is complaining about how I keep trying to ruin his relationship with his family and push them away. But I want to know if I was really the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my former stepmom and saying she is getting what she deserves? I'm 16, female by the way. Parents got divorced since they got married young and grew apart. Dad got remarried and had more kids, and my mom did not. My stepmom and dad got divorced, which was amazing because my stepmom insisted on me not having my own room, since I apparently don't live there except for every other weekend, but her kids do. She obviously favored them and made it clear that she loved me less, and told me what to do even though it was not her right. She always told me that growing up with divorced parents and step-parents is normal, and that I played victim. Now, my dad and mom are getting remarried after reconnecting as older people. My former stepmom is freaking out about it. It is all like, "You won't last," and talking about the kids my dad and she had together. I laughed at her and told her that she shouldn't be so worried if she thinks the way she treated me was okay. I told her that my mom was 100 times the person she would ever be, and that she would be a great stepmom and like her. I told her that her kids would have bedrooms and not be treated like less. I also told her that she should stop playing victim. She then cried and said, "I don't understand." So I was wondering if I'm being an a-hole because I am getting what I want, and there was no need to rub it in. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not sticking up for my grandmother after my wife told her to F off out of her hospital room? About 3 weeks ago, my wife, 33, went into premature labor with our daughter at 31 weeks. It was entirely unexpected, and both my wife and our daughter had a horrible time, and it became quite dangerous for the both of them. My wife became preeclamptic among other serious complications, and for the first week, we weren't even sure if either my wife or our daughter would make it. Luckily, they both survived, but our daughter is still in the NICU after 3 weeks, and probably will be in for another 3, and my wife is still in the hospital as well. It has been a horrible struggle for my wife. Before this, she was a very healthy and active person, and even during most of her pregnancy, she was able to maintain a somewhat active lifestyle. But because of the trauma her body went through, she is basically starting back from square one and hasn't even been able to hold our daughter yet. My wife has had a lot of struggle so far with her birth trauma and feels so confused and hurt by her experience. She told me that she feels betrayed by her own body. And even in some of her weakest moments, she even said she regretted getting pregnant entirely because of how much she has suffered. And she is so worried she'll never be the person she was again. She feels horrible for having these feelings, but I and multiple mental health professionals have been working to help and support her through this. We finally have reached a point where we can receive visitors. Her family lives close, but my family lives 3 states away and have been waiting the chance to meet the baby and check in on my wife. My parents and grandparents flew down, and I warned my family beforehand that my wife and daughter are still at a very fragile stages, and to be patient. When I brought them in to see my wife, my grandmother immediately went and wanted to talk to her about the birth and her experience. My wife told her that it was one of the worst experiences of her life, and my grandmother responded by telling her that the worst is yet to come, and that struggling is what being a mother is about. My wife got very upset over this comment and started screaming at her to F off and to get the heck out. I had never seen my wife like this, and I could tell she was feeling extremely stressed, and I quickly escorted my family out. I told them it would be best if they leave for now and we could talk later as not to cause even more stress on my wife. My family said they were appalled by my wife's behavior and me for not defending my grandmother. But at the end of the day, I feel that it is my responsibility to be my wife's advocator all of the time, but especially now. It has become a bit of a tension in my extended side of the family, however, but I haven't told my wife about it because I don't want to stress her out, and I plan to deal with this alone entirely. Should I apologize on my wife's behalf? If I am the a-hole, I'll own up to it, but I don't see my wife as an a-hole at all. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for being too close to my ex-husband? 6 years ago, I got divorced from my now ex-husband. There was no drama that led to this. We simply realized we were no longer happy or in love, so it would have been a clean break if not for the fact we had a daughter who is now 11. Neither of us wanted to lose full custody of her or miss important moments in her life. She's the most important person in both our lives, and we debated on trying to make it work just for her, but realized that would only lead to all 3 of us becoming miserable. So we entered an arrangement that many would view as unconventional. When we sold our house, we used the money to buy 2 semi-detached houses that were joined and had a door installed between them. The construction company tried to warn us against this as it would affect resale value, but neither of us had any intention to sell, so we had them to go ahead with it. We also had them take down the fence between both our back gardens so our daughter would have an extra large back garden to play in. Many of you balk at a door, but there is an arrangement. It is strictly for our daughter's use and neither of us can use it barring any emergency, say a fire, a medical emergency, or something being wrong with our daughter. She has 2 bedrooms, 1 in each house, and every day she can pick where she wants to have breakfast, dinner, and sleep. I won't lie, it was awkward at first, but for her sake we made it work and even regained a lot of the friendship we had lost, though it was of course strictly platonic now. Last year, my ex-husband married his girlfriend of 3 years, a lovely woman who I'm actually friends with, and I was even a guest at their wedding with my daughter being one of her bridesmaids. All in all, it's an arrangement everyone is content with, except for my boyfriend who I started to date 2 years ago. He understood the arrangement entering into the relationship, and while I said it was a bit weird, he never protested. It all seemed well. Things are getting more serious, and we've been discussing moving in together. And he has made it clear he wants me to move as he doesn't want to live next door to my ex-husband. I understood that, but told him that wouldn't be happening as my daughter had to come first, and our arrangement gave her a stable upbringing. He got upset with me and asked me how he was supposed to be a father to my daughter when she already had a dad, and he was literally a wall away. I won't lie, this took me by surprise as I had no idea he wanted to be a father to her. I told him gently but firmly that he wasn't her father, that she already had one, and that even her father's wife didn't try to be a mother. Instead, she is called by her name. I told him if he won some kind of familial title, he could be an uncle, but I wouldn't give him permission to take her father's title when he is very much involved in her life. He told me if I loved him, I'd move for him, and despite me trying to tell him I do love him, he isn't listening. Am I the a-hole in this?